Hey guys, welcome to another episode of World of Unknown. Yes, I'm doing a bunch of crazy stuff there. Welcome back, guys. We have Trevor, and we have our guest here, Stephanie Rose. Hey, Stephanie, welcome back on the show. We'll always love having you on the show, and today we're gonna do a little something different too. So today's not, we're not gonna give her 20 questions, and we're not gonna really dive into her. She's gonna join on to us because she always got a special perspective as our local medium and our buddy and our friend over here. And today we're gonna tackle something a little different than we're kind of into. But we brought this topic for Stephanie, and it was something interesting. We started looking into it. It's like, wow, there is something here. So we always talk about watching movies and sometimes you play games, and they have these rich stories and backgrounds and stuff. And there's one particular game that's been around for us for over 50 years that everyone's really ticking to, and that would be Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. And when we start diving into that, you think like, where's all this coming from? Because there's so much to it. So the question is Dungeons and Dragons just a game, or is it something even more?
It could be. More to it? It definitely could be.
Right.
So when I started playing it back in junior high, I actually started playing it. I was actually invited into a group because I was dating a guy whose big brother was actually a dungeon master. And it was actually back when you actually had to mathematically do it. Yeah. There was dice involved, but it was like you actually had a sheet, you actually had to pick your character. Everything was based on math. It wasn't as fun as it is now, because now my son is a dungeon master and we actually play now. And it's a lot more fun than it is now, nowadays than it was back when we were fun.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
But
I'm sorry to cut you. So did you play yourself ever beforehand? So you have played?
Yep.
I know. Have you ever played it?
No, but my kids, they wanted to start playing it.
Yeah. And, I know years ago I tried going, but as you said, it's a lot more fun, a lot easier. But especially back then, and this is back in the 80s, it was harder because all you had the books.
Yeah.
You didn't have any, unless you knew somebody who played it, it's hard to dive into.
Yeah.
It's almost like you need to have somebody to play to show you how to play. Otherwise, good luck trying to get that down. I'm sorry, I didn't cut that up, but that's all I'm entering into this. I never got to it, but we've gotten to a part where we started creating our characters, and it just kind of fell apart. But it takes time. It takes effort.
Does.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend hours doing your character, getting its doing all the math side of it and getting into everything. It's a lot of work, and then you get into the actual play. Yes. And again, that takes hours because everything's math based.
Yep.
And it's not like it does now, where you can sit down and within 2 to 3 hours you can actually have a conflict. Yes. That's not how it was back in the day. So,
and that's why the game was always suggested it was just a bunch of nerds doing, because it's a bunch of math and a bunch of homework. It's basically like homework just to get this going. But the whole reward of it is when you finally got through that and you got into the game, it actually opened up a whole different world.
Yeah,
right?
It did. Yeah.
All right. So, and that's what we want to explore now. So this game is so intricate and just getting it started. And why would someone try to start a game that didn't really just pop right away? You got chess, you got checkers, you got games that maybe usually in 5 minutes you get. This does not. This takes a lot of setup.
I think the whole world that you can get into is what people they put that time and effort into it.
Right.
Yep.
So they can,
Well, I think the other component of this was very much based. When this came out, you got to think everybody was reading books. Yeah. So their imagination, you used your brain a lot. And I'm not saying that you don't use your brain now.
No,
it's just a different concept.
Right.
There was no visualization. So yes, there might have been a picture, but everything you did inside your brain. So your character, you actually created it.
Yes. Right.
It's very much like that. Pick your person, pick your pathway, pick where you're going, characters. And so it was just a different concept, whole different thing. And you did a lot of research, lots of research.
Well, that's good for a game though,
Yeah.
You actually have to put time and effort into it.
Right, and exactly. So, and what other game would actually have you do that? Why would it have you put homework into getting stuff done? So let's touch really quickly on the two founders of it. Now, these guys are not the full creators of it, but these are the guys that wrote up the rules and the whole concept of it. And the name is, and I'll put the names up here, guys. Gary Gigex and Gigex, whatever, I guess that's what it is, and Dave Arneson. So kind of looking in a little bit of background of it, Gary Gigex was an insurance writer from Wisconsin. He was obsessed with military history and wargaming, which are basically games played with a ton of little lead soldiers. So I guess if you see some old movies, you see those generals playing on the board, it kind of reminds me of Risk.
Yeah,
that was wargaming basically, right?
Yep.
So he was totally into that. So he was basically the system man. He's the one that kind of wrote all the rules and the hierarchies and all the occult stuff that got onto it. Which looking into it, I think it was Gigax was actually a Jehovah's Witness, and they're not supposed to be into that. But he's the one that got all the names for the demons, which
He wouldn't he?
we'll dive into. Which actually started using the real demon names and real fae names and real
maybe
rules
there
and
was
stuff.
something behind it.
Right. So that's what we get to. So he's the one that kind of got that together. And the visionary was going to be Dave Arnson. So he's a wargamer from Minnesota. And somehow I forget how it is they got into the games, but he was into wargaming too. But he created this game called Blackmore. So instead of commanding a whole army, he told his players they're going to just control one person in a dungeon, and that was the Nexus. So when Gigax heard that, he's like, I think you got something here. Instead of controlling everything, you got one person, you're in a dungeon, and that's how the birth kind of came through, and that's how they got the aha moment and everything. So they got together, and they
Interesting.
over a couple of years, they kind of got that down to getting all the rules and everything and how it was going. So by January 1974, the first Dungeons and Dragons set came out by TSR, Tactical Study Rules. So let's dive into a little bit of the Gigax guy and the rules and stuff that he got. And we talked about, he started dipping into all these old grimoires, which are kind of like histories and the Lesser Key of Solomon names of demons and stuff. So if you're creating a game nowadays and you're going to create some monsters, we usually, some of us might pull some monsters, but you want something original. You start just making up names. Like, I'm going to make a monster, his name's going to be Grr, and he's a tree monster or something. What Gigax did, and maybe it could just be he wanted to keep it, as you talked about before the show, he wanted to keep it as real as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just lazy.
I think he smoked too much weed. Well, he is a Jehovah's Witness smoke weed?
No, they don't do anything.
They don't.
But then again,
They're not supposed to, at least.
But then again,
I think he was a bad Jehovah's
he's
Witness.
studying the Lesser Key of Solomon. He's studying a bunch of
Yeah.
other ancient books and grimoires.
I don't
So
know.
grimoires are ancient, like recipe books. Does that sound
Yeah.
right? They're recipe
Yeah.
for spells and stuff,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Okay.
I think there's a lot more to it. I think that he was actually dipping in because I do believe that on the other side, before we came in, we were talking about the power of names. When you're actually invoking or using names of demons or names of fae, you actually are giving, or even gods or goddesses, you're actually giving them power.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're pulling them and then having everybody use them, just like in Loki and stuff like that,
Yep.
if you actually, like with like the Loki movie, if you're sitting there and you have this and then you have all these people coming in and they're reusing this name over and over again, and they're using it,
Especially
and they're
using with
invoking
intent.
it.
Exactly,
And,
yes.
with intent, you're giving that person power again. So he's invoking what we would in this game would classify as demons or devils or whatever they are, evil spirits. You're giving that thing back its power. I don't know that I think it was totally pure intentional, and I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
to what goal or what, we don't know. We don't know what it was.
I don't know exactly. I mean, he was a Jehovah's Witness, but it's sort of odd that he was going for something so dark.
Yes, which is weird. Yeah.
Because
So,
again, why wasn't he just pulling out names?
Yeah.
Like
Just making up names.
Maybe
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that just need everything authentic.
maybe. So here's a.
there was other ways of other
There's
names.
some other
you
ways
could
to
put
do that.
on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Like you
I
didn't have to
agree.
go down that pathway.
Someone-
Like,
But they're such good names.
Point of view.
but there was so other different names.
Exactly.
Like
Just
you
make
could have
up
went
names.
down Greek mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you
No,
could,
he-
I mean,
it's
you
a
could have even
specific-
stayed in the Fae range
Or the
and just
Norse.
stay in the Faes
Yeah,
or the
they were
Norse.
the Norse.
These
You did-
names he pulled out were from actual ancestral books that people were actually scared of. So why
Yeah.
even tap into that? You
Yeah.
know, even regardless if you knew that or not. So I want to just bring up a couple of terms. So out there, if you guys are like these kind of the term Ergogor, which is what you're talking about, like a channeling of which is a little different because I had a little trouble with the Tulpa and Ergogor, and so what I got is the Tulpa is more of a singular person's channeling of a. So a Tulpa is basically you believe in something so much you bring it to. It's a manifestation.
Okay.
Yep.
Where Ergogor is the same thing, but it's on a massive scale with millions of people believing in something to make it come true.
Oh, it's the Thin Man and all that.
Yes,
that thing.
Slender Man, Hat Man, all those things are a lot of times a single person in Tulpa, but when it becomes a massive thing, like we're talking about this game, which it sold out great. So if we go and Baphomet, are we actually producing this person? Are we bringing him in? It doesn't have to be a physical person, but his essence now is
Yeah.
out there.
Is out there, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
we hear the name Baphomet on time. You hear like, oh, Baphomet, yeah, one of the demons and stuff. Like, I wonder before 1970s anybody really even
No,
thought
probably
about
not.
that unless
No.
they knew about
Like if
the
they were in,
Lesser
like,
Key
a
of
cult,
Solomon.
like a cult
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
And I
So-
mean, I can totally understand why, as a society, why people started pouncing on this, the Christianity.
Oh, yeah, Christianity.
side.
Yes, like why
Started
would you be
pouncing
teaching
on
that?
this.
I mean, you kind of understand. Like, yeah, why would you be bringing? Like, what are you doing here? So,
I mean, not that I agree with it
No,
at all. I can
but
tell
you
you I
understand
don't
the
agree
fear,
with it,
right.
but I can tell where the
Yeah,
mass
the fear came from.
Yeah.
Fear
and-
came from. Yeah.
and it's funny how we talk about sometimes as the Christianity looks at something as a demon, like a fae, and fae looking into it are usually a neutral. They're like a chaotic neutral. They don't do good or bad. They do what benefits them and what
That's
they're.
right.
Doesn't make them bad or doesn't
Nope.
make them
I
good.
know, but like if you're talking about Christianity, anything that's not their God or
Exactly, it's a demon.
is demon.
Is demon,
Demon.
right?
Yep,
And it's out
that's
to
correct.
get you. Yeah,
They're not. Yeah, there's no
Well,
play.
the old teachings of fae, like exactly, they're not out to get you. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
they'll deal with you if you know, and like written all into these rules, if you know the rules of engagement, which
Yeah.
they also taught too. So what were they doing basically? So they're bringing in the names of demons, they're bringing in names, they're bringing in the actual rules of engagement for fae. Why would you even do that? Why wouldn't you just make stuff up?
What if that guy
Maybe
was
it
a
was easier.
clairvoyant?
See, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, especially since he was drawn to this and he was actually pulling out these specific
Specific names.
names, maybe he actually was involved in this world and he actually could see
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm thinking.
And
Yeah.
that he, because like with me or like with my, like the person that did Labyrinth, the
Yes.
guy that
Oh,
created
yeah,
Labyrinth,
yeah.
he actually talks about that all his drawings originally, which was based off the Labyrinth people, originally started with his drawings. He actually saw them. They were visions that he
okay.
actually saw.
Yes.
That's because the Fae were actually coming to him, giving him visions, and he was drawing them.
Kind of like you, basically,
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
stuff. So,
And so
Makes sense.
he saw it on the other side, then it was drawing it, then they created the puppets. That's how he actually got it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he was connected. I think this guy might have actually had the same thing.
It sounds
he was
like it.
connected on the
Yeah.
other side. He was getting names.
He was seeing
or
things.
he was already playing with things as a
Yeah.
kid, and this was a group that he was playing with, and then he was bringing it across, and he created this substance.
Right.
This game,
Well,
and it just
yeah.
evolved.
Right.
Do you think he had run-ins with demons then?
I think that he had the bad side and the good side, or they were
it
showing
comes with
him
both, yeah.
they were showing him that there was both sides on this side of the on the
And so
other
that's why
side,
he might have went
and
down
this
that
is
route.
where
Okay.
So-
because
that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems, I mean, because they pulled a lot of.
because it's too much, and
Yeah.
especially at this time frame.
Yeah.
It's too coincidental, and I don't believe in coincidence for him to know all of it, and,
Yeah,
and combine it into one.
Right.
Yeah, and they
unit.
also pulled from so many different types of mythology.
Yeah.
I mean, we're spanning
Yeah.
different ages, different
Genres
continents.
and
Yeah.
everything, and pulling it together and
And for
putting
him to
it
just focus on those,
once.
yeah.
So some people
And
might.
we didn't have Google at that time.
Right, no.
So
That's
like
it. You'd have to go
He was
on-
on-
like
he was in a
today,
book.
Yeah.
like
Finding-
today, someone could go out on Google and say, okay, bring me all this type of
Yeah.
person,
Right.
and then combine it and put it into a game. Okay, I totally get that.
Yeah.
But back then they
He had to
wouldn't
go
have had
do-
that.
You have to go
You had to go do
search.
book
And
work.
Yeah.
Not every library has.
No,
What library
absolutely.
has a Lesser Key of Solomon books?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I mean, that
weird.
would have been hard to find.
Right, exactly. Unless,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where exactly in the Jehovah's Witness line he was, like Acts. I don't even imagine a Jehovah's Witness, library, I would say, would even have that.
No,
But- so,
and
right.
I can tell you, a normal library wouldn't have had that.
Right.
That
What
would have
if
been
he
a
was-
hard
What if
library
he was
to
an occult
find.
member? I know
Well-
he was like Jehovah's Witness, but they still, everyone's susceptible to that.
Yeah,
kind of
I mean,
stuff,
he
you know?
would have had access to some of those books. Like, that would have been books that you would have had to go looking for.
Right. Now, there's also like the other books of the Fae. You know, I think Jacques Vallée, if I remember, I think I got that name right, was also about the rules of an. Oh, it's not
puppy's
knocking.
tail.
It's a dog tail.
Go. Sorry, technical difficulty.
That's right.
Sheila,
That would.
swear to God.
Well, yeah. So basically, we're saying, yeah, he could have looked this up, but it wasn't as easy as getting on your computer pulling up. Now, some people say like, okay, he had access to it, and he just wanted to be lazy, and that's why he just put the rules as that. I go, yeah, that is a lot of effort to go through that than just
Yeah.
making up her own rules. I mean, he was
Nah.
technically sound already as it is as playing these
I'd-
games. He was a system guy. So to me, it wouldn't seem right that he would kind of take a shortcut. Maybe. I don't know.
Nah, well, I mean, I thought it was laziness, but they did smoke a lot of weed back then. But I doubt he did it.
Again, you're assuming he smoked weed. These guys seem like big time. Well, maybe not. You know, who am I to
In
assume
all
anything?
honesty, what
Yeah.
I think happened, I think weirdly he probably was in a cult. But he had this creativity, and he made this game, and I think he put a lot of that essence into this game.
And especially with, and I'm not going into politics, but with what's coming out in the world right now, there's so much things that are on play that we're seeing visually coming out that I think there's a lot more on the undertone that people aren't talking about.
Well, that's
he may have been associated with a cult, or maybe he had access to something that people don't want.
Books,
because there's books here, or there's access to books that, like, where the hell was he getting this stuff? Because
you'd have to know somebody,
especially in the 70s, like 60s and 70s, and you got to think he started this. He didn't start this like, one day wake up and say, I'm going to go find all these books. Right. This is stuff that he's been collecting.
It's true. Yeah, you would have to know.
And it would have been over time.
Yeah, and you would have to know people to get that book or see it or read it.
Where was he from? Minnesota? Wisconsin?
Wisconsin, I was in that area.
Come on. If anybody's been to Wisconsin, which I have, and it's not a bad state.
No banging on Wisconsin.
No banging on Wisconsin. But seriously, come on. Where are you going to find witchcraft books?
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure you'd have to go mainstream, California, to find some of the.
You're gonna have to be going all over looking for, and some of this book, especially some of it, you're going to London or England or some of
back then, especially too,
because they're older concepts,
right? So, and also bringing in another thing he brought into was the dice, the sacred geometry that the Grecians used that had kind of like a earth, wind, fire, with all it symbolized that too. So he put even the way you moved, it brought that in. So what I looked in kept saying the sacred geometry of Greece.
So he had to have some form of a math concept to him to understand how the dice would actually interact with them. So I don't know if that's from the other guy bringing in,
right?
Could be,
but he also had to understand the earth, wind, sun, you know, that concept. Which
he didn't just have by accident. He didn't just be like, oh, these dice. He goes, he knew exactly how he wanted to build it. So it kind of reminds me of you. Maybe he didn't, or maybe he knew he had a touch, and somebody over his shoulder was helping him out. Like, do this and do this and do this and put it all together.
And so it doesn't surprise me if he was interacting with the Fae, because the Fae totally interact with the earth, sun, the earth component, the natural component.
So they said, he saw an opening, and someone on the Fae side just say, hey, this is a great idea to have people remember us, or to remember
and the
who and what we are.
There is a big component of Fae that are war type Fae. Like, that's what they do.
Right.
Or they used to do. I don't know. I mean, they still do. I mean, I have people that protect me that are war-based Fae. That, yes, there is a war concept over there, because they're not human, but they have a human component to them, or we have a Fae type component to them, that are like us, and so they have war too. So yeah, I'm sure that he saw the
hunted,
same.
Right?
Yeah, they're hunted just like us.
Even if they weren't at one point, you have to respond to.
Yeah, I mean, they probably showed him exactly how it worked or how it was.
And talking about that sacred geometry that everyone keeps using as a dice over and over again. So what happens, just like when you're invoking names and stuff? What happens when you keep using those sacred, because you're using them as how does that affect everything down the way? How does using all these names 50 years later going on down again? We talked about we know the names of Beelzebub, but maybe because of the Exorcist too. But it's all the stuff.
Lucifer,
But what down the line is this? What's the other than maybe just making money out of this game, which they made a bunch of money, but the way we're talking about him and how he brought this up, what was the final? What were they looking out of it? I don't even know if he knew. If somebody was the end game, basically. So maybe he didn't know. He just thought, I'm making a really cool game and stuff. But what if the Fae they're using, and what is their end game out of this? If this is true, what they want, and is it malicious? Maybe not. Maybe it could just be like, we want you guys to remember who we are. We want you to know who we are, how to approach us if you do see us.
So it's like their way of just holding on to that.
Holding on to something
that they needed.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of times they say that a Fae and the Fae Wild, which is their land, is a parallel dimension. We always talk about other dimensions, or are they like forgotten history and they're still going? So they
I mean, the Irish still interact with the Fae. They still worship the Fae, and they still give them offerings constantly. I can tell you that the more you interact, or the more they have energy, they don't want to be forgotten either, because if they're forgotten, it's like, I just watched that program, or I think it's Chaos. I think it's
Chaos with
with it's
the
about
weird guy.
Yeah, it's with
The guy from Jurassic Park.
it's the guy that turned into the Fly.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yep.
Jeff Goldblum,
And it's actually really good because it actually talks about how people forget the gods and goddesses,
I was thinking
and
of-
it goes away, and then they lose their power.
Yes.
If you want to watch something that's actually pretty truthful, like that's the whole concept, and I think this is what the concept of this is the Fae came back in and was like, this is our way in
Back
of
in.
people remembering us,
Yeah.
people giving their energy back, because they feed off energy just like, like we do. Like
Right.
humans feed off energy. You want to be remembered. You want your people. That's why, like the Cinco de Mayo, they always remember the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
Right. To
Yeah.
remember.
I was going to
Remember.
say it was like American Gods. Remember that
Yep.
show?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were
Same
all
concept.
fighting for attention.
So
Who could get- yeah.
and that interesting
thing.
to think about that. So we talked about how complex this game came out in the beginning. Like you needed somebody who knew how to play already to go. And so when he started, they had family to test this out and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they had to go out and initially tell people, this is how you play. Let me show you.
Yeah.
I don't know whoever's just written those rules. Basically, getting through that rule book is like reading a textbook.
There's always one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
You
one
need
guy.
that-
He's like, dude, I read it 5
you
times.
need that one person knows how to play to get it. So what I'm trying to say is, as complicated as this game is, if you think back then, what other complicated game has survived and kind of even gotten bigger as it's gone along?
Yeah.
Nothing that complicated is. But this...
Only
and I-
Risk.
Yeah, only risk. Right. And Risk is not even as complicated. You
They've
can get Risk
dumbed
down
it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, massively.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to dumb it down. But Dungeons and Dragons has never been dumbed down. It's
Nope.
gone quicker to get it.
Yep.
But and I think it's also because it's such a engulfing game that you can
They've
really
just
get
made
into
it,
it.
more user friendly by making it
Where you
on the
didn't have to do
computer.
all the
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
it has
not
been
dumbed
dumbed down.
down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are the Fae helping this move this along and get bigger and bigger? Because now everybody knows of it. They know some
Yeah.
of the rules. We've had movies, we've had shows, we have cartoons, we have manga, we have comic books, everything on it.
Yep.
And it's funny how it grew for something that was so complex to even begin to understand to begin with. Now, in the early '80s, it was a bunch of nerds play that. Now,
Yeah.
everybody. My
Everybody
sons
plays
and my
it, yeah.
daughters are playing it.
Yep.
Other people play it, and we don't look at people like you're playing Dungeons. You're like, oh, cool, you're playing Dungeons.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
I'd like to
Yeah,
try that
I'll
too.
try it.
I
Yeah.
mean, because I can tell you, when I played it back in middle school,
Yeah.
it was not something you talked
No,
about.
it was not a
No,
cool
it
thing.
was like, it was like an underground club.
Like, it was
It's a
an
secret-
underground club.
a shame
Like,
group,
Fight
exactly.
Club.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
can
talking
tell
about
you,
Fight Club.
yeah, it
But
was
Fight
like,
Club people were proud to be. When you're in Dungeons and Dragons, you're like,
I played Dungeons and Dragons on Fridays, but no one said that.
I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Don't do that.
Like, I'd take my notebook and I'd put it in the back of the car. Like, no one talks about
Your
it.
dad finds it. What is this? No, go play a sport. So
Like,
damn.
Yeah. And the person that read everything was my boyfriend's big brother. Like, he was a genius and he read everything. He was the one that explained everything. Like,
Okay.
that's the one. Like, but he was the one that read the whole book. No one else had read the book. He
right.
read
He
it
read
all.
all
He
of
knew
it.
the
More
rules.
power
Like,
to
no
you,
one else
man.
had.
Highlighted
Stayed
certain
awake.
things
Wow.
in there.
That you need someone like that to
Yeah,
really get
because it was
Well, it
only
never
one
would've-
person.
It would have never took off if
No,
you didn't have guys
But
like that.
I
though.
wonder at the beginning if like they had big tournament or they went to they had to
I
have
bet
some kind of
you-
conferences or something.
know, but I bet you
where
would
they
never know.
Yes.
Had to like
Show.
bring people
Yes.
together and was like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, it was probably in like the Motel
Yeah.
6.
Probably.
like,
Or something
yeah.
because they had it would have
Well,
been great to be able to sit like in the background
Yep.
and like
And
watch.
just watch, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know
Well, you need
that
people
that's
to
how
learn,
they had
yeah.
to do it.
Right, especially at the very beginning, people are like, "What the hell is this?"
Because
Like,
they wouldn't have put it on TV.
we spent like
they're-
4
they're
hours
sitting there
getting ready
like-
for this
yeah.
damn game. What
And
the
they're
fuck are
sitting
we
there
doing
taking
here?
notes and,
yeah,
you know.
exactly, right. But I'm sure they explained it well, and like you said, I'm sure you got the people
Well-
that are interested in that Warhammer type of
Yeah.
games, war gamers, and they look. We got a different game. We're going to explain to you like Blackmore. This guy got in, so they got the people that are already interested. But
'Cause
you're
they-
right, to
yeah.
spread out from there.
Yeah.
Anything
Because-
with war is all strategy.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, everything is strategy. So
Yes.
this would go right up a lot of people's alleys,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if they're like
But you also
warmongers.
think that this is probably very similar to, back in the day when like Genghis Khan and stuff would lay out his maps
yes.
with his little people all
was
over.
basically wargaming.
Yeah,
He was
it's
wargaming.
wargaming
Yeah.
too,
I love that.
just with
Right.
real people.
Yes, he was
But
actual real life
it's
wargaming.
the same fucking thing.
Same thing.
Like,
It's
really?
just yeah. So and again, if we're doing this in Dungeons and Dragons, obviously as a game, but what's the final end game in this? Why even exercise?
You know what? I think the final end game was just getting it so mainstream like it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
I
like
think so too.
it needed
To invoke the
evolve.
names, to invoke the
Yeah, and then
remember us.
now like
You're right.
I
like,
think after like just because of Dungeons and Dragons, we had like Game of Thrones came
Yeah.
out of shit like that. You
yeah.
had
Oh, everything.
But I don't know that they ever. I think that the people that were behind it, not the designers,
No,
the
but, like, the
creators,
people pulling
but
their
the people
strings.
pulling their strings knew what the outcome was, but I think that they had no idea it was
No,
ever going to
yeah,
be this big.
they saw the end game of it,
Yeah,
and they
they
go,
saw the
well,
end
this
game.
this could keep us alive for a long time.
for a long time.
You know,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and all that type
Yep.
of stuff. You know,
But that's another crazy thing is that if you're getting money behind this and you see how difficult they even get this game going, you're like, what the fuck am I putting my money into?
yeah,
I'm like,
but
God,
you
it takes
like
5 hours
I
just to
know,
get
but
this
like I
damn
said,
game going.
You're talking about people that
But
do
if
like
they
war
knew-
strategy.
Yeah.
And
That's
they'll
true.
sit,
They knew.
those guys sit there for months.
Yeah. Well, maybe
and figure
Yeah.
out a battle plan.
right.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never done
Like-
an actual war game, but maybe it does. Maybe it does take that much setup.
It's
and, yeah.
hard.
I
they're
can tell
this
you,
will
like, my
go somewhere.
son, who he's a dungeon master, he sits and he contemplates his strategy for the whole entire campaign.
Yeah.
It takes him a long, like, he thinks about it for a long time. Like, he
Yeah.
has multiple strategies playing in the back of his head that he's in the middle one, but he already has like 3 of them playing in the
Well,
back
you
of his
have to.
head
Yeah,
that
it's
he's
war.
already thinking
Yeah.
about.
If they come this way, we have to flank them this way.
Yeah.
We have to do this. We can go
And
that.
I'm pretty sure there's people out there that are talking with Dungeons and Dragons. They go like, well, you know, these people are probably they were big Token fans. Like, oh, that's right. But they took even if they took a little bit of what Token kind of
That
touched
world.
on.
Yeah, but Token was
Right.
very.
That's what I mean. They took it
concept.
and they
Hobbit.
really blew it up. Like, oh, this is cool, but let's really dive into the Fae. Let's really get who the Fae were
Yeah.
and bring them up. Like I said, they brought the
Yeah.
actual rules. So, yeah. But well, I'm just saying that because some people might say, well, they had stuff like Token out there that people are like, oh yeah, but this
Well,
is way
Lovecraft,
more.
Token,
This
you
is
know.
way more.
Yeah.
Token was just a few. Even if we're talking about the Fae, there's only very few of them, right? There's only
Yeah.
3 or
but
4.
it's-
And this thing brought open everything.
I know, but like
Just
from like
open the
all
book.
the everything they pulled from.
Yeah.
That's what they really concentrated on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could have dove into the Norse mythology,
Yeah.
and that could have been a
and they
whole
would have
game within
just
itself.
stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Or
they
the medieval
didn't.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just focused on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a little interesting thing. We're talking about that Jacques Vallée, a scientist. He's about explaining the Fae. One of his theories are that these beings, that the aliens aren't from Mars. That they're actually the 1600s. People knew them as the elves, as we know as great aliens. Were actually to them they were the elves back then. Just a
That
theory
makes
that he
sense.
has. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So maybe when
I mean, they
people
just
talk about
moved
I
it
saw
from one thing to
elves,
another,
they were
yeah.
actually seeing aliens. But are they aliens or the interdimensional beings?
So did elves
We don't-
kidnap people in the middle of the night?
Maybe. I mean, they're playing by their own rules.
Can you like literally like
Did the
see,
elves
like,
play with your butt?
Just a bunch
Exactly.
of little people. And you got
I
that
don't
one
know.
perverted elf that's just like
Maybe that's what we're seeing here today.
every time, every
the
fucking
aliens
time.
the aliens we're seeing are the Fae that they're seeing back then. Who's to
Yep.
know?
And they just change their appearance, maybe.
Maybe, or maybe they. Yeah, exactly.
Because I think if they're doing that and they're like abducting people, they want the sense of fear.
Yeah.
So if it was like actual Fae, I don't think I'd be afraid of a Fae taking me. I'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I
Let's
don't
see
know,
where
man.
this goes.
I have
But
no
little
idea.
gray aliens, I'm like, I don't want this.
We've heard that
Like,
the elves are so beautiful. Sometimes it kind of takes you off guard a bit.
Yeah.
That's a certain type.
Yeah.
Like
That's
the
true.
Fae can come at different. Like it depends on where they're located and
Yeah,
what
like
type of
woodlands
Fae.
and stuff like
like
that, yeah.
you know, you can get desert Fae, you can get woodland Fae, you can
There's
get
also-
water
I bet
Fae.
the- I
Like
bet
you
the
can get
desert
all
Fae
sorts
are
of
rough.
different types of Fae.
Yeah.
And they all present differently. I don't know. In my personal opinion, aliens are different than Fae.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah, this
Okay.
is just a
No,
theory
so, yeah.
that he
I
brought,
know this
yeah.
is a different like concept.
Yeah.
But like the little gray people are different than the Fae.
Yeah.
I mean, in my
It seems like
my
totally
Oh,
concept.
different.
dude, I'd
Yeah.
be, like, if it was like a beautiful Fae came in my bedroom and was like, hey, we're gonna abduct you. I was like, yes, please do.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
No, you
Come back
don't.
tomorrow night, please.
Why are you talking to me and not abducting me?
Yeah, come on. More abducting, less talking. Let's go. Let's go have fun.
More takey, less talky.
Are we bringing handcuffs this time? Let's go. Come
Oh
on.
my god.
Hey, you guys notice Trevor's been in a great mood lately? I don't know what's going on there. I feel great. I'm going back to bed. Like, it's 4 in the afternoon. What's going on here?
Like I have like bags under my eyes. Like, do you think you can
I'm
sleep?
so happy.
No.
Who needs
No.
sleep?
No, I've been having too much fun.
I'm having fun.
But I'm getting
fun
abducted
sleeping.
every night.
Yes.
I love
Did I
it.
tell
No.
you?
Yeah.
But yes, I see that that's a concept. But yeah, I just think that there was more to it. I just really
Yes.
do. The concept that boggles my mind, and I think that there was something to it, is the whole dice. Why is there so many dice?
Right.
Like,
What-
who came up with that concept? Why do we need that many dice?
Right. Exactly.
Well, if you're talking about mathematics, right? and then you're
but,
gonna add
like,
other elements to it.
So why did we have to choose that many dice? Like,
Yes.
why did we only why did we have the 20 side dice, and then we have the 6 dice and
Builds
the
again.
8
Yeah,
dice
but I
and
think-
all of these?
I think
like,
you're talking
Right.
about
the platonic solids we're talking about before.
yeah, but I think you're
Yeah.
also talking about like nerds that just want to make it. This is
that-
gonna be cool, guys.
that connects
We're
to
gonna have
the-
all these dice.
that connects
I
to
think
the
that's a really-
belief that everything's a geometric building for the building blocks of the universe. So somehow
Well,
that's connected to that.
technically, yeah.
So this is all like kind of like invoking or kind of like ritualistic on what we're going, and that's what basically our angle is, and we've talked about too. So let's go into a little bit of the spells in the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Now I know some people have gone over and like, well, these are actual spells. I'm like, no, but the building blocks,
They
like how
came
to
off of-
create one,
Yeah.
right?
True. Yeah.
yeah,
The-
the
the-
components are
The
there.
components and how to do it. So, and I'm trying to look at my notes here. There is a 3-lesson thing, like the invoking the word,
Yep.
invoking the it was like hand gestures, or invoking the ritual basically of doing
Yep.
it, and then actual the hook. Sometimes like a sand if you're going to do a sleeping spell, because it connects to the Sandman basically. So the actual hook to the thing. So those are 3 building blocks on how to do that. So
Yep.
I'll let you. I mean, you would hopefully a little more than that.
Well, see, and that's a hard thing is that there's components in it that actually do have, some
Substance to it.
to
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And so, I mean, the nice thing is at least D&D, you can convert it and make it your own. So you're making it your own. But the problem with spell work is making it your own is still spell work.
Right.
And if you put a lot of meaning behind it,
It's gonna
it's
come true.
spell work.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're an amateur and you're really trying to invoke it and you feel it and you're really pushing it,
Yeah.
you could really make it.
Something could really come.
Yeah, you could really make it.
So
So
you
when
get
they-
that
so-
times the hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
doing the same time.
Yeah.
What
So
does
if they
that
do that, is it more the intention of the spell or the actual words being said?
It's the more intention.
Okay.
It's like, and that's why the words are not, I mean, yes, words have a lot of power, but it's more the intention
the
behind
energy
the
you put
words.
into it,
Yeah,
and- yeah.
it's more what you're doing.
I think, like we
man.
said, I think it's a whole ritual of the words, the gestures, or the ritual of it, and the hook. All of it, like you said, is
Yep.
the intention. Because once you do, you could just say something, but once you put that all together, because you're meaning to do exactly
Yes.
what it is, regardless if you know what you're
and
doing or not.
releasing it, because
Right.
it's the whole process of it.
And just because you're thinking of like you're trying to channel a demon, for example, and you do it, doesn't mean the demon's there, but you're invoking the idea of it,
Of
and
it
you're evoking,
coming out.
and like
Yeah.
and,
And
then
it's
you
just as
take that by the
dangerous.
thousands
Yeah.
of other people doing the same thing. If you're doing the same name, what
You're
is that
bringing it
doing
to
there?
life now.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the demon's gonna be right there in front of you, but
But it means you're giving it
the
enough
essence
power.
of it,
Yeah.
exactly.
It doesn't
And if-
mean it can't do nefarious
Yeah.
things.
Right.
And it means that it
Or do
could,
whatever it
and I
needs to.
Or
don't
have
know that
people
it's
act weird.
coming to that house and that person, but if like everybody has that game and, over a period of time, everybody does that step over
Yeah.
and over, that person might get enough energy to where at least they're out and about and
Yeah.
they could actually,
Yeah,
be
they could
more
cause
present.
harm, yeah.
Out there. And so that's something that people should be more aware of.
Right.
I wish we could actually find like legit stories. I know some of these people that played this were probably so into it.
Oh, yeah.
And they probably hated other players to the point where they're like,
I can
just
tell you,
really going at
even
it.
today, people get in fights.
Oh, no.
Over
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
D&D, like
Yeah, I
the way,
guarantee it.
because they get mad if people don't take it as serious as them,
Right.
Or they don't, because they get so much into their characters, and it does, like, people fall into that whole like, this is my character, this
And
is how
then
I want to act, and
if
this
you're-
is,
yeah.
and I'm acting this way, and if someone's not as serious as you, then you're like,
or
what,
if you slighted my character, then
Yeah.
you really
Oh,
have
they
an
get
then
really
issue.
angry with
you're
you.
Yeah.
really
Um,
angry, and so you have to really worry about that. But with the spell work, I'd be very cautious of how much of the spell work I'm actually doing.
Okay.
It is a game. I'd be cautious with what you're actually
But games
saying.
can turn into reality really quick.
Yeah.
So again, it builds up the thing. Why did he make this game this way, where it actually has the building blocks of how to do a spell? Why would he even put that in there? Why don't you just like all you do is you
He
say
was
the
a
words
cult.
and that's it? You're good.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
it was a cult, or he just really wanted it authentic.
Right. Why?
Or
though?
he honestly just maybe
What
he
is
was
the
just,
reason?
he
It be-
might have just really been into this stuff.
I think he was, again, I think he had access to something.
Right.
He had access to people that were helping him do it.
Yeah.
And it's not just, like, I think he had access to the Fae on the other side that was helping him, or at least giving him guidance.
Yeah.
But I also think he either had cult access, or he had people that, like, he was, in something, or he had access to people that were in things that were telling him how to do stuff, so that it made it sound better, because it didn't need to be there.
No.
Like, it didn't.
Right. I'm just
and
trying
it
to...
wouldn't. And this wasn't a selling point.
No.
Like,
No, it's just
so
in
there
the
was
game.
no
It was-
reason for it.
But it was like a good blueprint
The
for
selling
that
point is
game,
like,
though.
get
Yeah.
away and get to a realistic game that you do this, but
Like, you could have just said, and you invoke a spell here,
Right.
and then make
Just
a
say
spell
this
up.
word, yeah.
Like, you don't have to make an example,
Right.
or give them an example.
Well, okay, maybe not, because like if this
Like,
game
you
is
didn't
just coming
have
out,
to do that.
Right.
I know, but if this game is just coming out and everyone's like, okay, so what would a spell be like? And he goes,
Well, they all
here's
read
a...
Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
It was already out.
Plus, this thing also introduces the
But
whole.
I don't think a lot of them are going to do their homework like that,
But
though.
well, that's another thing to add to it. This thing introduced the whole thing of the circle to make yourself protected. Why would they
Yeah.
even put that in?
Yeah.
If you just have made up games, like there's no circle, you just do it. You get a circle, you're gonna invoke something. You're gonna
See, I think
you've
that
gotta
he
put
was
a circle.
associated with
There's
like
too
either
many-
witches
maybe
or
too
he
many
had
details
stuff.
of
Like
that,
there's
yeah.
I just can't see him knocking on like a Colts door and be like, "Hey, I'm playing. I'm
No,
making a
but
game."
I think he.
I know, but like,
yeah,
can you imagine
again,
that? He's like, "I'm making a game. Can I
Yeah.
see your book?"
No, he's
just gonna pull some
associated with
things
him,
from
get
it,
some
you
friends.
know,
Yeah.
I'll make
which
it look
is,
good, though.
again, weird because he's a Jehovah's Witness, which that is all you
And
can.
maybe that's a.
and not that we all
maybe he
follow
was
him.
saying that because he didn't want people coming after him.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Maybe he just said he was that, but
So that
really
then
he
people
wasn't.
wouldn't.
Yeah, he could have been a
Because,
Satanist for all we know.
Because the thing is he did have a lot of fae information here, but he
Yeah.
has a lot of witch information here too.
And those books are
And those
not
are
easy to come
two
by.
different
Yeah.
concepts.
Yes.
Like doing fae stuff is one thing,
And doing-
but being like witchcraft type concept or voodoo type stuff, which
That's-
that is in here too.
Yeah.
That's a totally different concept. Like
Yeah.
those are, and the weird thing is it's two different. Like those are all three different genres.
Yeah, well,
Like,
yeah.
and that's the thing is
That's a-
maybe he was like a demonologist or
Maybe.
something, and he just studied a lot of
and
it.
that was a good thing to say. Hey, I'm just a
Jehovah's
Witness,
Witness, so
Right.
leave me alone.
Right.
I
You
just
know?
did really good research
Yeah.
for the book. you
Someone
know.
says, so let's step back and look at what he did, and regardless of the game, regardless if there's stuff already there, that he put it all together so kind of smoothly that we don't even realize it.
I know,
It's
but
actually
it's-
kind of, now we're talking about,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's actually really impressive to get this all together, to get it all working together and smooth as it was. I mean, I know it took some years to really hash out, but still, that's a big undertaking
I know,
to
but
get all
that's-
these different
And do you
concepts and
really-
put
Yeah,
them
but
together.
I mean, but it's a big game, but there's been other worlds built that's bigger than this now, and it did the same thing where people
Yeah,
came
but
in
they
with
had
the
a lot
concept.
of phantom riders, and they had a lot of help from outside, and supposedly there
He
was
didn't
only
have
two
any.
of them.
right.
And they didn't have AI.
Did they have a
And
job?
they didn't have.
Yeah, he was an
Google.
insurance salesman. The guy who did the
Really?
system went, yeah.
Really, you're gonna put all this shit together while you're selling insurance?
Well,
Well,
You're
search
gonna
is
go
not,
door
you
to
know,
door.
back in the
they're
door,
not-
yeah, back in the day it was door to door.
So you think
Exactly.
he was like in between houses? He's like, oh, and then we can do
right.
this and that.
Maybe a lot of
And then-
times.
Maybe
Maybe
at
he was
night
really
when he
bad
was
at it, so
laying
he's like, well, I'm bad at this.
Or he
So,
just said he was an insurance salesman.
I don't want to sound like a broken record with all this stuff, but again, like putting all the spell stuff. Why? What's the final end game? Regardless if it's him
Yep.
or an occult or the fate, what's the end game of teaching people how to do real
Bringing that
spell-
old
the
world back, though.
building blocks of
Yeah.
Because
spells.
like if you look at it, witches,
To remind
all that.
you?
Yeah, I think.
or they're
think-
hoping one of these people actually tap into a spell and get it going, and so they bring
Or
back.
maybe
magic
they are
or
looking for
spells.
like a certain type of person.
I think that they were trying to bring it back.
Like a training
Yeah.
ground,
Yeah.
almost like the Last Starfighter
Yeah.
Movie, where they had this video game out,
And then
they're
guy,
looking for a
if they
real
were really
person.
good, they would bring
That's
him
not a bad- never
I
thought
think
about that.
it's almost like maybe the awakening.
Yes.
Concept.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they
Like
were
they-
like, not everybody's gonna fall into it, but yeah, like
or maybe
tap
like
into it.
certain spells are like, okay, if someone actually shows promise,
Yeah.
and they
Then-
can get this spell and something can happen from it.
and then
then
maybe
we'll
they'll
recruit
start seeing
them.
the fae
Yeah,
themselves,
we can
or
recruit
maybe
them.
they'll start
trying
seeing
to
other
Yeah.
stuff.
they're trying to break themselves. They're trying to break
Yeah.
themselves back into our lives, I guess. So they got more. Well, they always talk about the city went under the hill. They went
Yep.
away. They went to the left. So basically, they left a while ago. So they talk about iron being a painful to a lot of the Fae, and so they think about the Fae were before the Bronze Age.
Yep.
When the Bronze Age came in, was the new technology. They did not like that, and that's
so
when they
then
went
they
away.
went
So they
under.
went away.
Yeah.
So now they're ready to come back
well,
out. They're like, you know
okay.
what? So, one second. So we talk about, well, it's been 50 years. We're going to remember in the Fae, 50 years can be like that to them. Their
Oh,
time
yeah.
is totally different.
Yeah.
It is.
There's people who've gone, there's stories of people who've gone there for a few hours and come out, and it's centuries later. And they're like, what the hell happened? The time was different. So don't think of it like, it's been too long. I'm like, no, they have plenty of time. time. They're like, if it takes 200
They
years
live
to get this,
forever.
right? If
Okay,
this thing
my-
could just take 200 years from now, we got it.
Did Fae intermingle with humans?
Yeah.
So
there's
some
those-
You
Back
have
then.
hybrids.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So what if that's what they're looking for?
Maybe
They
maybe
could
look
be
for the bloodlines.
But I
They're
also
looking for
think
their
that
bloodlines, their
I
lost
think that
bloodlines?
and what if it, and this is another concept. What if the people that actually wrote this weren't actually human?
They
They're
could have been
presenting
fake.
as
Yeah, as human.
human.
Because that's too much
But-
time on anyone's hands to write this whole goddamn
But what
thing. and
if
have a
they
full-time
actually
job. I'm sorry.
weren't, or what if they were hybrids and they presented this with the idea that they're giving the concept back to the humans to see, to open the concept back
open that door
up,
back in, yeah,
so that
yeah.
then people are like, oh, is another world
And
out
then
there.
they'll start
Oh, there
researching
are
it on their
people out
own
there.
and-
Oh, let's
yeah.
get back
Again,
into that
it's
concept.
little by little, this game's getting
then
more
it
and more,
gets,
yes.
and then people start getting excited and they're like, we want to learn more about
Yeah.
the Fae. We want to dress
Yeah.
up. Let's do Renaissance.
So
let's
when
do
they
this.
finally come back out, and then we
And
know
then
the
we're
rules
not
of engagement.
scared of 'em.
They're like, no, don't eat that. That's Fae food. Don't eat that. That's not
or
good
maybe
for you.
they're
Yeah.
back. Maybe
Yeah.
they did like they used
Maybe
this.
they never left.
Well, no, I'm
mean, they're
thinking
just
like this.
low, they're
Okay,
hiding.
look, let's say they went under the hill.
Yeah.
Then they have this game because they want to come back into society.
slowly
And
Yep.
then you have
quietly.
people dressing up like them, doing
Yeah.
Renaissance fair,
because
and maybe,
then they can slowly come back
and maybe
quietly.
they can walk among us and
Which they
not be
probably have.
noticed.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you just looking like, oh, that's a cool costume, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, thank you, yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
And
cool.
then they slide back then, but then it's safe.
Yeah.
And they can test out our world and then slide back in.
and see if it's
So
And
we
see if
both
they
get
can
used to each
actually-
other. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Who
It's,
knows?
it's a real slow way of getting it done.
For us, for them, it's just it's.
I still think they're just looking for like I think bloodlines that maybe went extinct.
And it could be.
It could be the
they're
same
trying to
thing. It
find
could be both the
Because they
same.
do
Find the bloodlines.
interact.
Yeah.
Like they do interact. I
Yeah.
mean, they've talked about it before. There is books that talk about like people that have slightly pointed ears.
Yeah.
Have the higher bred.
Yep.
There are characteristics that are closer to the Fae. They've talked about that.
Yeah.
And just like there are supposedly hybrids that are angel based.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
there
yeah.
are things that are there. Maybe that's what they're looking for, and they opened up this avenue to see who's more attracted to this
Yeah.
or more attracted to that.
or who has they're just maybe they're looking for that little spark
Yep.
when they start doing the
They're looking for the bloodlines because they know those are the people easier to see and believe in them, and then just
Or-
slowly integrate
And then
it.
they
maybe
can bring them
or
back together.
Maybe
Yeah.
the Fey world might just be dying out because if people don't believe in it as much, that's the only thing that's going to
Again,
kill them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to have the
maybe,
faith,
And this
and then-
game was something that could.
So
bring
maybe
back
this
up.
was like a desperate attempt to try to get
Could be.
their numbers back up and.
It might be just everything at once. This game and this how popular it's been.
I mean, because if you think about it, it did go down a little bit in
Yep.
the 90s, 2000s,
Yes.
and then it just
something
Yeah.
just kicked
Like
it off
something
again.
I think
just-
it was technology caught up to it and actually made it
Yeah.
a little bit easier for everyone to start
Right,
playing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just kind of hit at the right time where.
Because that was right at that tech bubble.
Yeah, it
Right.
was. It was right when Google started coming out, and then all of a sudden, like I think technology grabbed it, and then it just went boom, and especially when they got the app, like
Yeah,
it made it
there's an app
so
for that.
usually
Right.
so easy.
So let's talk a little bit of the dangers of doing that. Now we touched a little bit on people who are so into their characters they kind of lose themselves a little bit, and that's what they call a little bit of the bleed. What happens when that person? Because you're spending so much time and effort into this game, hours of trying to be this paladin, this warrior, this wizard, that some of us, like you said, some people get angry. They get
Yeah.
There was a
Renaissance fair
movie
people.
early '80s, Mazes
Yep.
and Monsters, with Tom Hanks of all no list,
Yeah.
about a guy who kind of got too much. I don't know what his character was,
Great
but he
actor.
who got lost in the woods. It was an actual story, and the kid didn't
probably
die.
thought he was-
He found him later on, but he got so into it. I don't know, even if he
know
was
how-
on drugs or whatever,
You know
it
how
doesn't
funny
matter.
that'd be if you like they're doing a whole search party and you see him, he's like, ha!
Yeah,
he's
right,
out in the woods.
exactly.
They're like, you've been doing this for 4 days. He's
Right.
like, I'm in a
But-
war.
But you look at now, you look at the people who do the, like the real life reenactments, whether it be the Civil War and this, and they get into
Whoa.
it that much. I mean, that's all part of this, that you just dive yourself into this.
Yep.
But what happens when you lose yourself into it?
There was I actually read a story on it. There was an accident at one of the Renaissance fairs, and one of the guys got skewered with a sword.
Yeah, no shit.
And
I'm surprised there's that more.
So they kept asking him like, "Hey, what's your name? We need to get your info." And he was
Yes.
like, "I'm Sir Gregor,
Yeah.
the Knights of Shine." And he's like, "No, dude, what's your actual name?"
Yeah, and he gets
And then
into-
he finally got into like the ambulance, and he was like, "I'm too afraid to use my name."
Yeah, right.
Because Sir Gregor is the valiant one. And
He's the cool one, and I'm just a little.
I'm just a guy that works in a cubicle.
And that happens with the Dungeons and Dragons game.
They get so
characters.
into it.
Exactly.
They just don't know how to separate the two.
Yeah, because they're in a role, and that's the role that they play in that
and they
situation.
think that role is better.
Yeah, well, because they
what they
get to
are in
make
real
a
life.
situation where they actually are a person that
They're the
matters,
hero.
Yeah.
that they feel like matters,
Yeah.
and they live a normal life that doesn't. They feel like they don't matter. You
Right.
know, I totally get that. I mean, yeah, they do. Like some people really do take the roles extremely important, and they do like go very in depth in it. And I think it is something that you have to. And they get very angry at their
They don't do stuff seriously.
Beatles,
right? Yeah.
you know, work people in their group if they misbehave or they don't act correctly.
Right.
They take it way too.
Yeah.
It was like
Like
us in
that'd
PUBG. We took it way too serious, and then all
yeah,
the
yeah.
friends we played with were like, dicking around doing stupid
And
shit.
we get mad at them,
And we
it's-
get
exactly, right.
furious. I
Right.
shot him a couple times.
Yeah. But yeah, and that goes there, and don't make fun of these people because a lot of us were playing like video games. You get into it, whatever you
This
do.
guy in Call of Duty, you have no
Right.
idea.
Me with AI helping, guys, I'm gonna start fighting with it. But I want to real quick bring up the creation of this and to bring up the term Akashic Records, and I've heard this
Yep.
term before.
Yep.
And can you explain, Stephanie, exactly what a Akashic Record is? Do we know? I kind of get the gist of it. It's basically what I understand. It's the whole thought and study process of the human evolution is in this. I'm going to say cloud.
Yeah.
It's just this
it's like
cloud in the sky that we all can tap into, but it has its own sentience, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It's almost like a library with its own librarian. You can ask if you know how to
Address it.
And
Yeah.
they're thinking that's one of the things that helped out GigX and Arneson, the creators of the Dungeons & Dragons, to create
Yeah.
this game, that they got all these thoughts and everything, which wouldn't be any different than getting help from the Fae or an occult. It's the same thing because
Yeah.
you're getting the
whole
Like
whole
human
human
straight-
existence
straight down
thoughts
Yes.
and downloads into it. Again, whether they knew they were attached, getting to it, or whether it just kind of fed into them for the help of the Fae
Well,
or something.
I don't know.
I'm sure it
But
was
see,
part of it.
now they're using AI to tap into the Akashi records.
That,
Okay.
Now
Now they're
you're
doing
right. It's
it.
a physical.
And I don't know. I don't know how much that is truthful. Like I don't know. Like I understand
you
what
need
the
consciousness to be able to tap into it.
Like
You need
why
to be
is
part
a
of that.
artificial intelligence able
And it's
to
based
tap
after-
into
yeah.
a
Maybe it's an
spiritual
algorithm.
concept?
Yes.
I don't know.
It could be an algorithm.
I
they
mean,
just
it
figured
could
out.
be. I don't know. But the concept is, yeah, it's like you have it's like the divine. You're tapping into the divine, and the divine is giving you the overall concept, and then
Yes.
it's being pushed down into.
Basically.
It's no different than like a preacher saying, I'm getting divine information from above.
Yes.
And
yeah.
they're giving me
God
my.
is talking to me
Yeah,
right
God
now.
is talking to me. I'm giving my sermon. So
Right.
they're having the same concept. That's what the Akashi records.
I like how I said that. I
is.
never thought about that. Akashic Records is basically like a spiritual Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. So now we got the physical, and now it's
The
spiritual.
So, like,
divine is
if you're-
flowing through me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
so like if
that's
you're
my- yeah, okay.
meditating, if you do meditation of any type, and it doesn't matter what religion you are. So if you're sitting there and you're praying and you're asking for guidance, or if you're meditating, or if you're
Wisdom or
just at,
something,
you
yeah.
know, you're just sitting there being quiet and you're just saying, could you give me some enlightenment or something? Like give me something. Then all of
Right.
a sudden, you know, you have this idea pop in your head and you're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Or, oh, is that what I should be doing? That is the Akashi records.
Right.
And because
Okay.
that's the divine coming in and it's like, did you think about it this way?
Right.
Did you do this?
Right.
Is this
It's
what
gonna
you're
help
supposed
her.
to be
It's
doing?
gonna-
And it may be like grandma's voice popping in your head and saying, hey, dumbass.
Right.
Hey,
Yes.
you do this.
It's taken, yeah.
Yeah.
Jiminy
or-
Cricket.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket
Those
is
are all part
Akashi
of it.
records.
Exactly.
Like all of those little things, that's it. That's Akashi records. That's the divine coming in and just telling you.
I want to tap into that.
Yeah.
Sounds
So a little
cool.
side story
I'll
about
probably
that.
have-
Actually, me and my brother years ago, we got into a little bit of hypnosis. We learned about Akashic records, and I remember trying to channel that, and
guys-
we had some
you guys were
weird
hypnotizing each other, weren't
we
you?
had some weird. He was writing down what I was saying, and I had some weird. I don't know how to explain it, and then people are going to roll their eyes.
You rambling on to some stuff.
Well, I was saying stuff that was not. My brother's like, you would never talk like that. This is really weird how you're putting this. So I don't remember what the hell was going on, and I basically remember. But I almost, and I'm trying to remember. It kind of felt like the words are kind of being fed into my brain, and I was just saying exactly what it was.
You were just the conduit for it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And again, I get you guys, roll your eyes. I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. But it was weird to have these thought forms that were
aren't
not my
yours.
voice.
Yep.
My brother's writing this down. I was like, I don't even understand most of these words
Yeah.
that you're saying.
When
Went
you
back and
speak
it kind of
English?
made, and I don't know what we did with that and everything. And take
That'd be
that
cool
for
if you
image.
could find it.
But that would kind of, when I saw Akashic Records, like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember what that
Okay.
was. It was kind of a form, and it was weird. And when I heard it, it felt like a bunch of voices talking at once, telling me something.
And
Which
so
is very weird.
I don't use the Akashi records, but it's very similar to when I do meditation. I mean,
Okay.
when I do mediumship,
Yeah.
it's like that, but not
You
that.
tap into
like
something
I
for that.
tap into someone else,
Yeah.
and then they're telling me stuff that I know for a fact is not me because I wouldn't talk like that. I don't
Right.
say that.
Right,
I wouldn't
it's
even
something
know that. That's not me. And so you're getting just downloads of stuff or images that aren't yours. Akashi Records is exactly the same thing. Like
Interesting.
it's just
So-
divine information coming to you for one reason or another.
So I kind of wonder if it's like the divine information. Do you think the gods also tap into it?
I think they're
Because they're supposed to be all knowing, right? So maybe they have like a stronger connection to it, and that's
See-
why they seem all knowing.
That's a good question. Let me see. Okay. So this is what my people are saying: is Akashi records are like the top,
Okay,
the gods sit below it,
Okay.
and they have direct links to it.
so it's just tears.
So they're tiered.
Okay.
So are they part of the Akashi records? They have a direct link to it, but they are not part of the.
So they
Akasha
just had a
records.
better.
They have a direct link.
They have a better tap
So they're
into it
one.
than we do.
Yeah. So they're like at the top of the tree.
Yeah.
And we're one
like
one or
okay.
two branches below,
That
but
makes
they are
sense.
not the sky.
Okay, so yeah, that's this.
Okay.
Like the main goal for everyone was the Akashi records.
Yeah.
Because
And
they're
then they
there,
were
but
just
they're
able-
not there.
Yeah, just
Okay.
maybe because of who they are, what's going on, they have a better tap.
Yeah.
And then we're below them, and it makes sense because we pray to them.
Yeah.
So
we ask them for guidance. They
need-
get it. They
and
bring it back, to
down.
us.
So they're just the conduits sometimes.
So
Would
again,
make sense.
Again, this question again, what's the end game? But at least with the Akashic records, from what I understand, it's part of us. So it's not going to be anything that's kind of
I have a feeling it's part of,
malevolent.
like-
It'd be something to help. So
No.
why is the Akashic records, if they're the ones kind of driving this, why are they bringing this on?
Dude,
What is their
actually, I don't
end
know
game,
because
you
if it's all the human emotion and thought and all that, right? Of all
everything,
It's
every
supposed to be
knowledge,
everything.
everything,
So
every knowledge,
technically,
everything. Yes,
it's what you get out of it if it's malevolent or not. So if you're like a Satanist and you want nothing but like
You're gonna
pain and
see
suffering,
bad.
you get that, and then you are the one that amplifies.
But it's
it.
basically human, right? It's not going to be. It's not here. Akashic records is not going to destroy you. It's not there to wipe us out.
No,
It's there to help you.
I'm not saying that.
Right,
I'm just
right.
saying if someone wants just pain and suffering,
You're going to see it.
they're gonna tap into
You
that.
can tap into all. Yeah, you
and
can.
then
Right.
they're the conduits of bringing out pain and suffering.
Right.
If someone wants joy and light,
They're going to see that.
Right.
and then that's what you get. You get
So that's-
sermons and beautiful
That's
things
it.
like
You
that.
don't want a real evil person tapping into the Akashic
well,
records.
but
'cause
everyone
it'd be like-
technically
But
can though.
I think, yeah.
But they don't know though. That's just it. I mean,
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you look at
everyone's
some of
able
these
to, but I
serial
don't know
killers.
if you're a really scientific person. You don't really know you're doing it, but you kind of like.
But I think they do. I don't think that I think everybody can tap into the Akashi records. I just don't know that they realize they're tapping
Yeah,
into
because
Akashi
like
records.
some of the serial killers, they heard voices.
Yeah.
I mean,
What if they just tapped into it and it was just
I think that
They're a
like
little
people are
twisted.
like, and I think it can be as basic as like you go and you write a paper for your English class and you get done and you're like, God, that was like the best paper I've ever written in my
yeah,
life.
how the hell did I
Like
do
I don't
this?
even know where that
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
from. That's
And it's-
because
it's
you
like
tapped into
Shakespeare.
Akashi records.
Shakespeare sitting there going, I'll
You know?
write it for you.
Yeah.
And that's just because you got a divine link and you just tapped in and you were able to do it.
It makes sense because like if you do magic mushrooms, you tap into something,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it is.
Maybe.
I don't know
maybe
what.
it's
what
opens your mind more to it. you
yeah,
know?
but that really does make sense
there,
to me.
Yeah.
there is faster ways to tap into stuff with clearer pathways, and that's through meditation, whatever it is that
Yeah.
helps you do that. Yeah.
And that does make sense because nothing can be created or destroyed in this universe.
No,
right?
it's all energy.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
somebody decided to take all that emotion and history and just put it into one place instead
well,
of just
yeah.
having it float around.
Well, because we are a living, breathing
Organism,
entity.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
that makes sense.
yeah.
That's actually a cool concept.
I'm going to go a little bit back into Faye stuff. So Akashic Record, guys, there's a little breakdown of that little bonus stuff for you guys on Akashic Records. So we can always go back to that and visit that again. Let's dive back into some of the weird and the really detailed world of the Dungeons and Dragons. So looking into the Fae stuff and looking at it now, and again using real names, Oberyn and Titiana, the king and queen of the Fae, living in the. So what I always thought interesting was they used the Seelie and the Unseelie divisions of these are the courts of the Fae. So do you know exactly what so the Seelie basically means blessed, and obviously I'm looking here and Seelie's unholy. So the better and the bad or something.
Yeah. I mean, I know about it. I am Scottish, and I've looked into it. It's just, and the hard thing is I understand what the concept is. Like, I've seen it, I've heard about it. It's like saying that. It's sort of like saying this group is bad because I think they're bad, and this group is not bad. It doesn't really mean that they're bad. Gotcha. It's just because you're interpreting. Kind of sounds
like highborn and poor.
Yeah.
Like you just happen to be in the highborn status, and you get this.
Yeah. So it's like these are and so it's like
you're
saying
not bad.
You're not
different.
Bad. You're just different than this group who thinks you're bad, and so
they just don't like you.
They just you're different.
Again, another funny reason why to put that kind of detail into the game.
Yeah.
I think that they did it because someone told them to do it.
Maybe.
And they want but it's also like good and evil. Like
but if you
have
also
to have that balance.
If you look at it, and if these people were very nerdy, they weren't part of the cool kids.
Yeah.
They weren't, so that might be their way of saying, oh, well, there is two divisions.
Yeah.
And, I was never a jock or this or that. And
the blessed or the unblessed.
Yeah, or the Unseelie court.
They didn't like me because I was a little different and they picked on me or something.
I mean, there's always like the kids on the right side of the tracks and the kids on the left side of the tracks. Yeah, and I guess that's what they did. But it's weird that they did it from Scottish.
Yes. Again,
because why did they pull from that?
Yes, exactly.
When they were pulling from other ones already.
It's
like, why didn't they pull from?
Impressive again how this all fits together too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're building the world though, you can't. I guess you just got to do it from different sources and somehow make it work.
Yeah, but that isn't common knowledge.
No,
right.
Like you had to do some research to find that.
He could have been from Scottish background. He said he was Jehovah's Witness. I don't think he was Jehovah's Witness either. He could have been. He was like, I'm German, but I'm really Scottish. I don't want anyone to know. Like, I think the guy was just a liar. I don't even think he was an insurance salesman.
Right.
Maybe
not. I don't know if they said he was an insurance salesman. He wasn't even.
I think he was the head of a cult. And he was stealing their money, and he was like, dude, all right, these idiots gave me all their money. I'm going to sit down and fucking write a game.
I'm going to write a game for them.
A really difficult game, but I'll make a buttload of money. And supposedly later on, these guys had famously, they broke up. They had a bad falling out on the thing.
I'm sure they did.
I didn't get into about what, I'm
sure they were playing it, and they got mad at each other, and they were like, fuck
I'm
you.
sure it was all about just money and who went where and how much.
That's always exactly. I don't think honestly, I don't think they thought this game was going to get this big.
No. I don't think so.
I think that they thought, I bet one of them probably thought it would stay in a very cult-like concept. And the other one was like, let's just expose it to everyone.
Yeah, possibly.
And maybe that's what they had that falling off for.
And then when it got exposed to everyone, they were like, no, it was supposed to stay this way. And the other one was like, no, let's do it this way. And then
it does make sense because one guy could have been like, I need the true believers. It doesn't make sense that they would expose this type of stuff. To me, it doesn't make sense that they would expose this level to the masses.
Right.
Or, I mean, maybe more people were into Dungeons and Dragons than we thought, and they heard about it and like, dude, I want to play that. And then it just kind of had a life of its own.
It kind of taps into something when you look into it. It kind of learning about for me, learning like the Fae and all the magic. It kind of taps into some kind of curiosity. Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
man.
But it doesn't matter who you are. We all have that curiosity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It taps into that.
To be able to build your own character in your own world and become someone else. Everyone wants to get away for a while.
Yep.
And
so
the fantasy side of the world.
That would tap into just about everybody.
But there's some that don't. But the game wasn't made. It was made for us. They're kind of, what is this? So maybe that's what it was. Like we're talking about. It was an awakening. Like, let's get this person more interested in the Fae. Let's teach them a little bit of magic and just the building blocks. Not actual spells, but just the building blocks on what's going on.
When was the last time the Fae, before this happened, were like really
prominent? Think about it.
Never.
Especially on the west. If you think about it, on the West Coast, on the Americas side.
Yeah, they never were.
No, I mean the Native Americans.
Did they tap into them a little bit, or was it more like
They believe in land spirits and stuff like that, with it,
like
which is
giants
sort
and
of
shit
like
that? Some of them did.
fae, but
Yep.
they're more land spirits, which is different.
I would almost think that's like they're like just spirits from their like
It
ancestors
is.
that they're kind of
Those are
praying
totally
to.
different. They're different than
Yeah.
fae. So yes,
So-
there was fae here, but it's not the
never got a-
same. So they didn't
Yeah.
have the same concept. The fae are more on the European side over there.
The older country.
The older country. So they weren't over here. So it's surprised. So they probably were like, "Hey, we need to be over here. Like no one's
Maybe.
believing on
There's
us.
too many people
we need
over
stuff
here."
over
Yeah.
here. Let's bring us back over here." And so that's it.
Yeah.
Could have been.
And
that
the more we
they just
invoke
need-
and
Or-
intent, then
Yeah.
more
I mean,
brings them over here.
it
gives
could
them
be
the power.
like I know people in Ireland, they still pray to him.
Yep.
But maybe they just there was a certain time where everyone just like, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Yep, the
And
older
then
was dying out,
they've
the
had-
older generations, and the younger weren't
Maybe they had
following
300 years to sit there and go, okay, how can we get back in this?
through. Yep,
And then they go,
Yeah.
they
We
came
need to
up
do
with
this.
this idea.
yep,
Yeah.
And one guy was like, I guarantee he's going to take off.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it turned into
it
something
did.
big. And maybe they're thriving here now.
Well, it is like now that you buy little characters, little girls want to dress up like fairies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they have Barbies that are fairies.
Halloween.
I mean, Halloween people dress like fairies.
Peter Pan.
So now,
All of
there,
it.
speaking of, there are people who are that say that this open-mindedness for all the Westerners does. I'm looking at the word here. It says the spiritual immune system and make it easier for these things to manifest, which for some people is bad. They're like, no, we don't want this. You know, we don't want them on this side over here. You get it. You get scared because they look at it as demons and stuff. So, but who's to say it's good or bad? You know, who's to say?
I would
Europe
say-
seems to be doing fine with, you know, if its stuff is over there, but there is that out there that people like, well, you don't want to keep invoking these names because then you dumb it down and then
Yeah,
they're
but
here and then we can't get
I think
rid of
in
them.
Europe you have certain countries that really still believe in it.
Right. Well, that's
And
what I'm saying.
then-
They're still
Yeah,
standing.
but I think most of Europe has modernized.
Yeah.
And they fallen away from the little stories and
Right.
everything. And I think over here you have a melting pot of different people where it's not a religion that's telling you, oh, don't believe in that. It's you have that in where people can still they build their own religion sometimes, or they
Yep.
it's just enough of a cracks in the foundation to where
Yes.
they can just really kind of flourish.
Right,
Yep.
but
And-
that's what scares them.
and
They
make
think
you-
that's scary. Yeah, I'm just saying some people. That's
know.
Yeah, and that's how. Just like they're skeptics, that like this is all just hogwash and bullshit and stuff.
It's just
and
the
other people-
game.
It's just
Yep.
how you look at it and how you accept it.
Or it
and-
could be a whole dying breed coming back to life.
Yep.
exactly that were
I
from
mean-
past, or just they left. They went to a
And
different.
I don't think Fae are evil or anything. I think they should probably, like everything has a balance, and maybe them dying out made humans worse.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, there was always a balance. I mean, the Fae was here for a reason, just like we were supposed to be here for a reason.
Yeah.
Everybody's here for a reason. They just fled because of reasons that I don't know that we
Technology.
particularly
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
about.
I think humans are just cruel and they try to kill
I
things they
think
don't
that
understand.
that's exactly right.
We hunt everything we don't understand.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, what would you? I'm sorry, you can say.
No, I just think that overall, I think that most of it based on fear. For our society, that's where they get the woke generation, where they're like everybody's woke and we don't want to deal with the woke generation.
Those obnoxious people.
I'm just like,
I don't
dude,
care.
like
Come
what?
knock on my door and we'll have a
Like,
conversation.
what
I
is
don't give two
wrong with
shits.
you guys?
Right, yeah.
Like, we're supposed to all be able to like do what we want.
You guys are Karens.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So, and it's funny because the people who fear it, that's intent, and that's giving them power too, or whatever
Yeah.
it is, and maybe the power to the wrong beings that you want. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think. Well, I mean, it might not be the wrong beings. It's
This-
just they don't particularly like
What I'm
you
saying
have to
is,
say
if you
about
fear
that.
the boogeyman, you think about the boogeyman, you fear him, you're going to bring the boogeyman. That's all
That's
I'm
right.
trying to say.
Look,
That's
yeah,
what I'm trying to say.
that's
yeah.
true.
I
Right.
feared Bloody Mary. She never came to my front.
Exactly.
All right.
But
But
there's
they-
some people that put too much time and effort into
Yeah.
it. That's all I'm saying.
But
I'm not-
the
Yeah.
other thing is that this is what Karens don't understand. The more you push,
They are.
the harder the people hang on to it.
yes, exactly.
yeah,
right.
So
you-
like if you don't like if your kid is dating someone and you don't like
Oh,
that
yeah.
person,
They're
you
gonna
don't
hold on
just
to it
keep
just that
going and
hard.
saying, I hate that person,
they're
get
gonna-
away
okay,
from
I'm
them.
gonna
They're
have
gonna
them
be like,
climb
I'm marrying
Yeah,
that
yeah,
damn
yeah,
person.
exactly, right.
You know?
Right.
So you say, oh no, it's okay, whatever. They're gonna see the person for who they are and then walk away from that person. Okay.
Yeah.
So leave it alone.
Yeah.
But if you keep saying,
No.
oh, I don't like that, then everybody's gonna gang on to it because they're gonna be like, why?
Right.
Are you so interested in this situation.
And then everyone's just and they go,
then
well,
it
I
makes
don't.
it worse.
It's harmless. Well, I don't like it, and you're like, but it's harmless. It's just
so then why are you so worried about it?
Yeah, you're a social justice warrior for nothing, and then you're like, no, all right, then I'm gonna go play it now.
So I'm gonna do it just because you don't like it. So,
but I don't know.
Stephanie, so what do your people tell you about the Dungeons and Dragons? If you asked them, like, what is your overall... Do they play it? They might. They do with humans.
Do they?
Know?
I mean,
That's
come on
right.
now. You don't know.
Humans in offices or whatever.
So the funny thing is, when I actually play Dungeons and Dragons, they're always like, "Are you going to play me?"
Yeah.
So when I pick characters,
I'll help you with this.
and I'm always like, "No, I'm not going to play
Yeah.
you, dude. Like, I'm not picking you as a character." So I always have a character, and I'm like, "I'm not picking you. Like, you're not my buddy. I'm not picking you."
Make a deal with them. Be like, I'll help you, but you have to help me strategize this whole game.
They actually want to be. The funny thing is, they love to be known. So if they could, if they could be added to it, or if they could be, brought into it, they want to be it.
So it taps into the whole being acknowledged and being remembered.
Yeah, they want more power.
So they just want to be in there.
Yeah, they don't want to be forgotten.
Yeah, so they just don't want to be forgotten. So if you could add them into it, if you could bring them into it, that's what they want.
Yeah.
So in general, if the more you bring, and it's just like all the Marvel movies and everything, the more you bring them into it, they're happy.
Yes.
Like that's what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's start kind of wrapping this up a little bit, guys. What do we think about this game ourselves? What are our individual kind of, now that I've dove into it, now what do we? What's our thoughts
Well, look, the more we actually talked about it, I see more of like it's an end game for the Fae to get a foothold back in this world again.
Yes.
Yep.
Because there is way too many, and I damn sure don't think that dude was a Jehovah's Witness.
You have to agree. I think there's too many coincidences, and there's too many connections.
Yeah, and just you talking about the witchcraft and that, knowing the history of witchcraft, and the horribleness of it, why would you start giving everyday Joes actual spells?
Yeah, or basic technology to be able to expand on it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I think that he had concepts there. He gave enough information to cause problems.
Right.
To be able to cause problems. If you wanted to go down deeper, you could cause problems.
Yeah, I think that might be the Fae just looking for their own though.
Well,
seeing who still had that magic in them.
And it probably is. I mean, because they probably were opening the door and it's like, who's interested? Who still has this? Who still is attracted?
Still,
yeah, because if you are, then you're attracted to this stuff. If you you would do this stuff. Right. That kind of stuff. The people that aren't attracted to this or is, actually invokes anger or fear, obviously you're not part of our line at all.
Right.
So that tells us to stay far, far away from you.
Right.
That is a good
highlights.
sense. Yeah. But I mean, they did go through. I think it was in the '90s. They went through and they did the purge.
Yeah.
In the game where they started changing a bunch of the demonic names, so people would calm down.
Yeah.
Because it was a group out for them.
I'm sure as all the Christian groups were out, and understandably to them, it's very scary to start invoking these names. Again, we're talking about names of power for them.
Isn't it funny how it's always the Christians? You don't see the Muslims coming up.
That's because the Muslims.
Or like Buddhism.
Never have any fun. Never have fun.
No, the guy's like, no, let's cut people's heads off. Let's go. And it's like, nah, man, no, we gotta
talk about no fun, cutting your head off. I mean, that's no fun at all.
Hey, I'd be
talking about buzzkills.
I'd be a crazy ass elf.
So right,
I'd be Elf the Beheader or something.
Right. So I like the again. We're looking into this, and I never thought about it until you actually brought this topic up. And then you start diving into it more, and you see all the details and all the again, this guy's getting names from the Keys of Solomon, Lesser Keys of Solomon, couldn't think of the damn name. And getting stuff from other grimoires and stuff, and all these rules for the Fae and stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of weird stuff that there's one that talks about about the Fae deals, and how you do stuff with them and how you approach these deals and make sure you don't tell them thank you because it's an insult to them because you accepted a contract. Why even put all that into the game?
Which is totally true.
Right.
Like if you're working with the Fae, you don't say thank you because then you're accepting a contract and you don't don't shake
now
hands.
Now it's a business deal.
Because then
Exactly.
it's a business
That's how
deal.
to them, it's always a deal.
Yep.
It's always what they can
And
do.
you don't ask for stuff because, again, that's a contract.
So it's everything that was written in the
They
contract.
take
is what
everything
it is.
literal.
Literal.
So exactly.
You don't offer him gifts because,
don't.
again, it's a contract.
Right.
Like, there's lots of things that in the book.
They didn't need to be
They
there.
didn't
They
need to
came.
be there.
Why do the
Exactly.
Irish people so pray to him and give him gifts? And
It doesn't mean they're bad, though. That just means
Because
if you know
the
how to
ones
approach them.
Yeah, the ones they're asking for, protect their land, protect
Yes.
their
Okay.
crops,
Because they know how
protect
to
their
ask.
people.
Yeah,
they know how to
their
approach.
family and
If
stuff
you
like
watch
that.
some of the movies, and I forget, one of the movies is like, oh, make sure at midnight you got to leave this little bowl of water with a little bit of goat
Oh,
milk.
no, I
right
know
next to
exactly
them.
what you're talking about,
But
yeah.
there's like that, but that all
Yep.
comes from there's a specific set of rules.
They've set it up and they did
you
it
don't do it,
generations ago,
exactly.
where they're like, my great great grandpa
Yeah.
set it up where
Yeah.
if we always offered this on Sunday,
They'll give us this.
they
It'll
will
still
always
bless us
protect
with
our
this. Yeah.
crops. We will always have milk,
Right.
But if
you know,
we
that
don't,
type of thing. But if
then-
we don't,
and you had
they'll
that
dry
one
our milk
person
up.
that didn't do it, he was like,
And
fuck
that's
that.
all-
And then all of a sudden their crops died.
Yeah.
And then they
so-
did it again,
but
their crops
like,
came back.
why would he tell you all this?
Right.
And then you'd be like, what?
Yes.
And even like with all the other concepts of the Fae, like with the trolls and stuff, they tell you the same stuff. Like they tell you their
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, this is what you do. This is
Well,
how it's gonna
everything
go.
has rules, yeah.
But why would you go into depth of
Yes.
it?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to bring the Fae back,
Yeah.
Right.
then
That's
you
what I
have
mean,
to.
yeah.
The
Tell you the
modern day
rules.
people have to know how to
Interact
haggle
with them.
Yes.
Because I think what it is a guy like, dude, I don't want to go through that 800 years of trying to figure out how to get these people to do what we want. Let's just put it.
And explain the hierarchy of
Yeah.
the Fae. That
Yes.
there's different
Different
levels,
courts
and
and
you don't
different
go straight to the
levels.
king and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, here I am."
Yeah, exactly.
You actually start at the bottom,
Yeah.
And then
and
work
you
your way up.
introduce
Yeah,
yourself,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you be respectful.
So
Yeah.
going
So-
in, especially since I had never played and then going into it, I'm
me
like, oh,
neither.
that is a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about. I always kept asking the end game of this stuff, and I think the end game, and as I go through and we talk about, it and I think about, I think it's all of it included: finding the bloodline,
Mm-hmm.
opening the event, and possibility of them coming back
Or I
from
think they already
history,
did.
or coming from the left. If they're already here, regardless of what it is, I think it all put together. It gives them
More power.
more power. Gives them belief. What they it seems like they need. They need.
Yep.
If you stop believing in something,
Yeah.
it's gone.
It's gonna go.
It
Yeah.
dwindled out.
It brought that back up. And I think this game tackled everything, and whether it be the Akashic records or somebody Faye channeling through Gary and Arneson, I thought it's like more Gary Gygax that made all the rules and stuff. Whether it brought them, I think the end game was not nefarious or anything. It was just like, so slowly when stuff starts showing up again, you're gonna know what we are, how to approach us.
Yeah.
And not be
powerful
scared
the
of us.
names. Don't
And
be
not
scared of
freak
names.
out when you
And-
start seeing
Yep.
this, because
Exactly.
now your imagination's
Yes.
going.
And you're like,
And
oh,
you're already
I've seen this,
in that
or
world
I'm already
technically.
comfortable with
Careful
this.
of the names you lose.
Or
So
you
it's
just
in
like,
your
oh, well,
rules.
I've
Yes.
dealt with elves
Yeah.
before, and you're
Right.
like, oh,
Yeah.
let's talk to this guy. And
You're going to be seeing some weird, like, I've heard something like this. I'm not supposed to eat this food.
And I
or
bet-
I got to be careful. I know this demon's name. I'm got to be
Yeah.
careful how I use that, or my name. I'm not going to give out my name because that name,
Yep.
same thing.
Or, so from that, we got like Ren Fair.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So who's to say, like when these people do Ren Fair, and sometimes you see people a little bit talking to themselves. What if they're not actually talking to themselves? What if they're talking to the Fae?
Maybe they are.
And they are.
And they were just
Could
open
be.
enough, and the Fae were like, okay, this one's a good one. Let's
I
talk.
can interact
find
with
out
this
Yeah,
person.
and then, yeah.
So I think all that we thought about is all the above is what
And
it wants to do.
And I think the other thing that we got to think about is because they're doing it this way, maybe it's like they can introduce the weird animals that we're finding back into our society, like the little dragons. All of a sudden, there's little dragons that they're finding in the rainforest, and they're like, "Oh,
Those
there's
lizards
these
are cool.
There's these little lizards that look like dragons.
Dragons, yeah.
They've been extinct all these years,
sound
and
like
lo
those
and
territories.
behold, they're back up.
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, we find thousands of animals
Animals
a year.
all the time.
And we
Yeah,
just can't
no.
get to it a bunch of the time.
You know, and is it because no one's been there, or is
Yeah.
it because it wasn't available to us because
so
it
we-
wasn't safe?
Yeah, but I'm also looking at that, and you look at, okay, this dragon was in this certain part of the rainforest, right?
yeah.
And
There
they-
was no Western man that has gone to that part of the
but
rainforest.
that little dragon just decided he was never going to
it's
adventure out and
coinc-
never come
Well,
to
no,
coincidental.
the
That's what you say,
well, I mean,
yeah.
what I'm talking about is that you're talking about the ecosystem and what it can thrive in. It probably tried and died out, and that's why they stay in that local area. But who has seen that dragon? Is this the first time in human history that
I
thing
don't
has
know.
ever been brought
I
up.
don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just coincidental that it came out now when it did. Like we talk
I
about.
know, but
this
there's
game
a
starts
lot
building.
of crazy shit. Did
But
you,
they have
like,
it on the walls. Like they have it in folklore.
I know.
So it's been
maybe
there.
that's where they got it from.
Yeah,
They saw
And it's
this
in-
cool,
They just kind of went away from it.
beautiful
They
lizard.
went left for a
And
little
they were
while.
like-
They went under the hill, and
But
now they're coming
they
back
needed,
out.
they're like, the lizard's like this big, and they go, no,
And
man,
obviously
we need
the-
like a 50
No, well,
foot
obviously
long.
the fair, like, okay,
Yeah.
we can't bring in a full-size dragon. Let's start with small ones first. Just introduce a little by little, and then again, you start introducing stuff little by little. It's small, the baby steps with everything. We brought this game out. We started bringing the names out. So now, hey, let's bring in little dragons. Pretty soon, like, hey, let's start bringing on some little elves and see what happens. You know, a little bit.
I was about to
So
say, let's not have. What's that movie?
let's bring out some trolls, little baby trolls, and see what they think
What's
about
that
it. You
dragon
know?
movie where the Christian Bale?
Oh
where
yeah, that
they-
one.
the
Yeah, that was a good
apocalypse
one.
happened?
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
found
let's
them
not do
sleeping.
that.
Well, that's what I said. They don't want
Let's
something
fucking
like
not
that.
do that. How about
So
that?
yeah. So
I don't want to go to war with
Anyways.
giant ass dragons.
what are our final thoughts about this, guys? I mean, it's been very nice deep dive. We can keep going on for a long
Yeah,
time here,
we
but I
could.
mean,
I'm
it's
actually.
very
I think I'm
interesting.
gonna go jump in with the kids and try to play it a little bit and get to know it a little bit more.
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe I'll see a fae.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
Well, I mean, I have a lot of fun playing it with my son and my other kids. Actually, we all play as a family together generally, and it's a lot of fun. Like
Some
it
do
is
too,
really
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like where this thought process goes. I never really thought of it this way,
Uh.
but it makes sense. I mean, again, we're always open to everything, and I like stuff that makes sense, and that kind of makes sense. So,
It makes more sense than how they built this game.
right, right.
You know?
So whether you believe it or not, even if you don't believe in this, and that's fine,
Yeah.
you still got to say it's impressive. It got all these different ideas from different, like you talking about
Different
the
times,
witches to
different
the demon book
areas,
and the
cultures.
people who made this. It's really impressive how
Especially
they got
at
it to
the
work.
time that it was written. That's
Yes.
what you got to think about it. It
That's
was
a
the
lot of legwork.
late 60s, early 70s that
Yeah.
it was written. That's before Google, guys.
Yeah.
You're going.
You're going to the library. You're looking all over the world for these dang books
Yeah.
to find this
I wonder
information.
how far he really went.
I mean,
Maybe he had help from people that, but still, he still had to put a lot of legwork and a
Yeah.
lot of, and it wasn't just
Travel,
something that just
money.
came out
yeah.
like that. Exactly.
I mean, you're not going to find some of this information.
No, he was an
like,
occult leader.
So here's another thing too.
Yeah.
So 71 is when they kind of met and talking, and it was out by 74. So we're talking about this time. It didn't take that long for me. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of information to pound in and get within.
Dude, I don't know though.
get that going.
Because what if both those guys already were kind of building two separate games in their head, and
then-
then they met and they
and
go,
they-
"Hey, we can
it
make
took
this
4
into
years to create it
to
But the
really
thing
meld it
is,
together."
Like the information takes more
That's
than
what-
4
that's
years.
what I'm talking about.
No, but that's
information
what I'm
level.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is these two people were building this game for years.
Or not even game.
creating
They
the
just
knowledge,
building
maybe
on, just had the knowledge.
The
basically.
Jehovah's
Yeah.
Witness was
Yeah.
all like on the demon side and
Well, it
shit.
sounded like he was into that
And
stuff, so
then,
maybe
you know,
already
the
had
other
it.
guy was in the
but
Fey
even
realm.
having that and getting that into a cohesive game, using the
Yeah.
sacred geometry of the
Yeah,
dice to the actual building of a spell on the foundation building to getting all the rules of
Building
the
the
Fey and the
people.
witches. It's just
I know,
it's
but, like,
fucking
the-
mind blowing.
if
Regardless
you
if you
can-
believe in the supernatural or not, just putting that stuff together is fucking really
What it
intense.
I know, but what it reminds me of is the veil you get to see that we don't.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
maybe the guy could tap into it, and he
I
was
think
trying
so.
to. This was the way he could acknowledge it to the
Explain
rest of
it.
the world.
Fey,
Yeah,
he had a
explain
it.
companion, he had Akashic records, or he had all
You
the
deal
above.
with demons, you deal with gods, you deal with fae,
Exactly.
you know, and that's just
Right.
How
so-
he
and that's why
created
he
it.
used it for. And maybe he was trying to pay homage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the gods and the fae and everything, and that's
Yeah.
why they're so realistic in the real names.
Yeah,
And
I think if nothing, you guys get out there and play that game. If you get someone who's really into it, know how to play it, I've heard the game is amazing. It's fun if you
It
can get
is.
into it, and hopefully this kind of sparks somebody that kind of on the fence, like, I'm gonna go try and give it a game. Give it
Hey,
a
I was-
go.
yeah.
There's tons of people out there playing now that you can help you out, get started and stuff, and give it a shot. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. The game's still fun, still immersive. It's survived for 50 years. A really complex game for a
and
reason.
it's just getting better.
And
Yeah.
it's just getting better.
It
It's
is.
getting
It's
easier
really
to
building a
get
base
into it
now.
So,
Watch
any
the
other,
second movie, not the first one.
Yes. Any other thoughts? And hey, again, thank you for Stephanie. I'm going to put her website here. I think you guys are my local medium here, but
Yeah,
thank you, buddy. We
just
like
turned
your
into a good one.
view on all this and everything. Anything you want to say or promote or anything like that?
No, I can tell you if you're here in Vegas and you want to join a group or join a club that does play D&D, Cemetery Pulp has multiple classes that they actually teach or they have going. So if you want
Put
to
the name
know,
on here, too.
yeah,
If you're a
they
beginner
do
and
have
you wanna
stuff
get into
going
it.
all the time.
That's
so
cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
We're good. Hey guys, don't forget like, subscribe, and share the show, guys, and get out there and play some D&D, man. I'm ready to go right now.
And if you see a fae, please put it in the comments and say what happened.
Or if you see one of the demons, I mean, like, exactly. Run. Don't ask him his name. Exactly.
Yeah, don't engage.
No, do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Don't forget to comment. Bye.
Bye.